of global economic conditions and aspirations of regional populations for development and prosperity.
To shed more light on this, I'm really delighted to have over the phone Dr. Ayman Ghoneim, the economic expert. Very good afternoon to you, Dr. Ayman.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon. First of all, how do you see the international economic institutions' view of Egypt after the visit of the President of the World Economic Forum to Egypt?
Well, actually, the diplomatic activities undertaken by the Egyptian leadership during the last 2 months really show the consistency of the Egyptian economic diplomacy from one side, and the appreciation of the whole world for this diplomacy. We know that Egypt's economic diplomacy rests on 3 main pillars. The first is increasing the nation's capacity in the economic, the military, and the political fronts. The second pillar is achieving sustainable development, cooperating with the whole world in order to promote the green energy and to promote the equitable distribution of the fruits of the economic development. And the third pillar, which is really a very important pillar, is what I call just and equitable finance. The ability of Egypt, as well as all the southern countries, to obtain finance with favorable, or let's say with equitable and just conditions. We have to understand the culture of accumulation, and I believe that this culture is really understood and applied by the Egyptian leadership. Because actually we cannot say or we don't speak about the result of one single activity and try to measure its results. But the accumulation of all these activities position Egypt in a leading role in the developing nations and Africa and North Africa from one side, and also it increases the appreciation of the whole world, of the business communities, of the financial institutions. They appreciate the Egyptian, first of all, the Egyptian policy on the political level, trying to maintain stability and peace in the whole region, because they know that the relationship between economics and politics is a double way. It's an interrelationship, actually. Economics affect politics, and also the political stability and peace improves the economy. So the international organizations, they do appreciate the Egyptian policy from one side, and also they do appreciate the Egyptian economic policy. Egypt has been successful in conducting its fiscal reforms, its structural reforms, reducing the budget deficit from as high as 13.9% of the GDP in 2013 to 6% presently, and achieving a primary surplus, which is the revenues minus expenses without looking at the interest. I believe we're targeting around 3% of GDP as a primary surplus in the present fiscal year.
Yes,
and that's what.
Yes, yes. Yes, Doctor. Yes. Also, Dr. Ayman, I just don't want to miss this point, as during the visit of the President of the World Economic Forum into Egypt, and actually many more leaders in this context, they have shed the light on the effort exerted by the Egyptian government in the economic aspect, and one of them is the economic indications, because the debt has reduced and the economic market is flourishing, and also the export rate is increasing. So how do you evaluate the government's efforts in this context, and actually the ongoing cooperation with African countries and other countries in this context?
Well, we've spoken about the culture of accumulation. Actually, Egypt has been undertaking accumulative efforts since President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi took over in 2014, whether in the fiscal structural reforms, as I said, reducing the budget deficit, putting debt now on a reducing course. Also the mega projects undertaken by the Egyptian government in improving the infrastructure, Actually, Egypt spent more than 10 trillion Egyptian pounds on the infrastructure during the last 10 years. Now, it was imperative actually to spend such amount because if we remember, in 2010, the Egyptian population was 87 million. I'm sorry, it was 78 million, I'm sorry. We were 78 million inhabitants in 2010, and now we are 108 million. So Egypt increased by 30 million inhabitants in 14 years. Actually, 30 million inhabitants are equivalent to Syria and Lebanon together. So as if we increased by the size of two countries. That's one thing. And also we have to remember that in 2010, the infrastructure and the roads were blocked, and it was very tough time, especially with the decaying infrastructure at that time. Also, if we really want also to evaluate the impact of the mega projects undertaken by Egypt, there is a very good study that was conducted by the World Bank Group on the traffic and traffic problems in Egypt and in Cairo specifically. It was conducted in 2014, and it's available on Google. Anyone can Google it. The World Bank estimated the cost of traffic jams and traffic problems in Cairo, only Greater Cairo, in 2010 by $8 billion US dollars per annum, and it was going to increase to $18 billion US dollars per annum in 2030. So it was imperative to undertake such mega projects, and the present infrastructure now in Egypt is the cement base on which now we're trying to improve and increase our production capacity, our export capacity, as you rightly said. And we're trying to set to the future in order to achieve the vision of Egypt 2030.
Of course, yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Ayman Ghoneim, the economic expert. Thank you for your very valuable insights. And dear viewers, now we're going to have a short break and get back to you to continue this episode of Cairo Local Time.